Welcome, welcome. Let's begin in a comfortable seated position. If you have a wall and it's like easily accessible and it feels like today's a day that you would like a little extra support, you can sit up against a wall. I'm realizing I forgot my little trick that I tend to teach people. If you might even find more comfort with a block as a prop as well. So I have one handy right over here. This could also be like, if you have an extra yoga mat that you could just like keep it rolled up like you're putting it away. But basically the prop would go between your shoulder blades against the wall. So along your spine. And that way that you can lean back into the support of the surface of the wall, but it'll help you keep your alignment so that you're not slouching. Yeah. And if you don't have any of those things, no problem. You can just come to a comfortable seated position. We made it to practice today. I don't know if anyone else had a particularly long week dealing with the cold. I myself had the Midwestern pleasure of my car is frozen to the street right now, and I've tried twice to try to get it unstuck, and it just doesn't want to yet. So a lot of chipping away at ice for me. I was really happy to be here with all of you today. You can let your eyes relax. You can close your eyes. We'll start with a little bit of breath awareness, meaning just starting to pay attention to how you are breathing, that you are a breathing body. And you don't even have to change anything about how you're breathing, just noticing. It might feel good to let this next breath last a little bit longer so that you're bringing in a little more breath, a little more air into your lungs. And then release the breath out slowly, maybe with a bit of a sigh. And then we'll take 3 breaths or so, just bringing one hand to the heart center, somewhere along your chest, somewhere along the breast. Just letting this hand at your heart begin to focus your concentration here at this part of you. And see what happens if you start to breathe in a way where it feels as though your breath is starting to swirl around the structures of the heart. And the exhalation as it's happening is giving your heart permission to start to soften and maybe let down some of the guarding that might have been happening around the heart today. There might be a physical sensation that comes along with feeling the heart relax. And it might not be something that you can actually feel the heart muscle itself doing, but maybe the structures nearby, like maybe some of the chest and the chest muscles can start to soften and relax. You may start to feel the shoulders begin to drop and soften and just sort of hang away from the neck. Maybe some part of the neck or the jaw or the throat begins to feel like it melts. Let's be here with our heart, with our hands on our heart and our breath bathing around the heart for 2 more deep breaths. That could come with an exhalation that has a sighing sound if that feels good. From here, if you wear glasses like I do, you could take those off. You don't need them right now. And set them off to the side. And we're practicing Bhramari. We're going to hum. If there's anything you need to shift, I feel like I need to kind of adjust my seated position. You need to switch the cross of your legs or maybe come away from the wall. Make any change right now that would make you a little bit more comfortable. And we're using a very specific hand placement for our Bhramari today. Bringing 2 of the fingers, the first and middle fingers, let those rest right on the eyes. And then the rest of the fingers, they can just cup over the face really lightly. And your thumbs, pardon me, I was realizing why that's not fitting. It's not your first finger and your middle finger that goes at the eye. It's the middle finger and your third finger, your ring fingers. Those gently rest on the eyelids, just in a way that feels good. Then those first fingers, they'll be at your forehead somewhere. Your pinky fingers will be near your cheek somewhere. And then your thumbs, they can either lightly rest at the earlobes or that little inner piece of cartilage that's nearest to your face at the ear. You can gently rest them there and sort of feel for pressing in to kind of close the ears a little bit. So it's almost like you're very gently plugging up the ears. So we're resting our fingers across the face, the eyes, the ears. And we'll hum 5 Bhramari breaths. To review, we're just inhaling until we feel pretty full. And then humming that exhalation out, any tone, any pitch that feels like it resonates smoothly, deliciously. Might be something about it that feels pleasurable to you. Take a slow inhale in through your nose. Feel for filling up the lungs. Begin to hum the breath out with our first round of Bhramari. And just really deep and slow, filling back up again, inhaling until you feel comfortably full. Exhaling out with that humming sound. Keep going for 3 more breaths. As you're doing this, noticing, sensing, feeling that vibration ripple through your body and your head, down your neck, through your shoulders, maybe somewhere bouncing around the heart. Where do you feel this breath reverberate inside of you? Taking your time, go for one more buzzy breath at your own pace. One more time. When that feels complete to you, when you finish that final round, you can let your hands rest in your lap again. The eyes can remain closed if that feels good to you. And come back to feeling around the heart. You can again return one of your hands to your heart. And just take a breath or two to feel. When you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can gently blink open your eyes. If you're at a wall and maybe your mat or your spot where you could lay down is somewhere away from there, just going to situate yourself into a place where you can lay down on your back. And here's where we'll use our yoga strap or a towel if we have one. And we'll do a little bit of a reclined hip opening series. And if you don't have a towel or a strap, you can absolutely do this without one. My tea is so good. Okay, so we're laying down on the back when you're ready. Ooh, we can bend both knees with the feet right on the ground about hip distance wide. Allow our body to receive the support of the earth. Feel if there are places along your spine that feel like are releasing a big sigh out, relaxing a little bit deeper into that support. Starting with knee to chest pose, we'll begin with our left leg today. So we're picking up the left foot, bending the knee in towards the core. Grab whatever you can with just your hands at first here. Could be behind your thigh or in front of your shin or grabbing some of your clothing. And each one of these poses, each one of these shapes will give about 5 deep breaths too. So we're going to go through this really luxuriously, really slowly. In all of these shapes, there might be some gentle movement that you can incorporate. For instance, if you like, you can let this knee kind of windshield wiper a little bit towards the breastbone, towards midline, away towards your left armpit, so sort of a side to side swaying motion, using your hands to guide the leg. You could also find a rhythm with your abdomen. So when you're inhaling, maybe allowing the knee and the thigh to move away from your abdomen, letting the belly round, have some space to expand. And then as you're exhaling, hugging the knee and the thigh in closer towards the core, almost like the leg is helping press that breath out of your body. Any other movements you might like to add in here, like wiggling your toes, or circling your foot. All of that is welcome. So for this next piece, if you do not have a strap or a towel, I would recommend that you just hold on to your pants or hold on the hands, bring them behind the back of the thigh for you to straighten this leg up into the sky. If you do have a prop, we're just going to wrangle that foot, gently bring the strap underneath the bottom of the foot. And then whenever you're ready, as you're exhaling, extend your knee. Let your leg go straight up into the air. And we're not even going into a hamstring stretch here just yet, any deeper than already happens when we straighten the knee. Meaning we don't have to pull this leg towards the core. We're just letting the knee extend. I invite you to imagine that this left side of your pelvis in the back, that left side of your sacrum, left side back of your hip, your glutes there, they're just rooting deeper into the earth. You can even imagine that there are roots growing out down into the soil, down into the layers of the earth here. And as you take your next deep breath, letting your breath balloon down towards this hip, you can imagine as though your leg were hollow. Could your breath start to fill the space of your thigh? Could it extend to your knee and down the calf and shin, and maybe even reach the ankle and the foot? And as you're exhaling out, continuing to feel that rooted support, the base, the back of the pelvis, and the ground. So as we hang out here for about 3 more breaths, again, if there's any kind of movement that you want to add in here, an idea could be flexing and pointing your foot, working the shin and the calf muscles a little bit. And even start to let that work into the toes. When you're flexing foot towards shin, the toes can flex back. As the foot extends at the ankle, you could point through your toes. One of the things I love to do when I have the support of the strap is to play with the way that the foot can swivel side to side on your ankle, to kind of direct that with the strap a little bit. If I gently pull the strap into the bottom of my foot and just let a little bit more tension come in the right hand, I'm pulling the inner arch of my foot down towards my groin. And then I reverse that. I let a little bit more tension get pulled by that left hand, and then it's the outer arch, the pinky toe side of the foot that comes down towards my outer hip and the floor. And you can kind of let it swivel, side bend, side to side at the ankle. All right. So the next shape, we're going into a stretch for our inner hip and our inner leg. And one of the ways that you can do this is bring both ends of your strap or your prop into your left hand. Put the right hand on the front of your right hip. That's just for us to get a little bit of some awareness into the other side of the pelvis, the other hip. We want to keep that plugging into the floor here. So if you feel yourself starting to tilt at the pelvis, you've gone a little too far with your leg. Take a slow inhale. And as you're exhaling, letting the left leg start to open out to the left. Keeping the right side of the pelvis even to the floor. Yeah, if you want some new information or some more information, you can play around here with extending the right leg straight out along the floor. So then both legs are straight, right leg reaching out and down along the floor, left leg reaching out to the left. People who are using this pose prop free, no props, you could give your hip a little bit of extra support, just taking that left palm to the outside of the left thigh and allow your leg to kind of rest into your hand. Anybody who's straightened out the right leg, I invite you to bend the right knee again, plant the right foot on the floor. As you gently draw the left leg back to neutral, back to straight up towards the ceiling. And it's going to be kind of like a two-parter for our third shape. The first thing I want us to feel is really emphasizing a stretch along the outside of the hip and thigh of this left leg. And then you'll have the option to take this into a deeper twist. But first, I really like to play with this pose with that support of the right foot on the ground. Take a nice slow breath in. You can switch the strap into the right hand now. And as you exhale, keeping the left side of the pelvis on the floor, just take this left leg maybe 3 to 4 inches across to the right, across midline. No farther than that. Just to start to feel some sensation, some awareness grow along that line of connection from your outside left hip and butt all the way down the outer leg to your foot. That might feel awesome. You can even continue lengthening that by doing that little bit of swivel at the ankle so that you bring the inner arch of the foot towards the inner groin. The pinky side blade of the foot is extending away from the outer ankle. Ooh, you might find some interesting sensation there. And again, you can use really gentle movement here. Maybe you swivel the foot. Maybe you're rocking the leg a little bit to the left, almost coming into the pose right before this one, and then back through midline and across to the right. Oh, and that just might feel super sweet. Keep that going if you're loving it. For anyone that's feeling like you want to explore a twist now, do extend the right leg straight out along the floor. Give the ends of the strap to your right hand and lay the left arm on the floor to the left of you. Nice slow inhale. And on your exhalation, now we keep going. We take this leg over to the right and start to allow the pelvis to turn. The left side of the pelvis comes away from the floor. We turn onto the outside of the right hip. The right leg and the right foot turn. And now we're reaching that sole of the foot, like we want to touch the wall that might be all the way on the other side of the room from us to the right. So whichever version of this you're doing, maybe you're still back at that first stage. Keep hanging out there. Maybe you've come into the twist with me. Let's take 3 more slow breaths here. So people that are not using a strap, you might find that the twist is a little more accessible if you bend your knee. So the left knee might bend as you bring that leg across and over. And do any position of the left arm that makes your left shoulder and the left side of your chest feel comfortable here. I find it often helps me with when I'm using straps in these poses is to create a really nice, strong line of tension through the arm that's holding onto the strap. And what I mean by that is go ahead and keep walking your hand down the strap towards your foot until the arm is an extension of the strap. There's just like one nice long line from your foot to your shoulder. And that actually might feel a little more relaxed than if you were kind of grabbing this in a way where the elbow was bent or the wrist was a bit flexed. See how that feels. Okay, we're going to go for one more shape here. When you're ready, everybody, inhale, slowly unwind your twist all the way back to center. And I'll invite everyone yet again to bend that right knee, put the right foot on the floor. You could use the strap or not, but half happy baby. So I'm bringing the ends of the strap into my left hand. As I exhale, bending left knee, and we're both externally rotating this hip, so the leg is moving a bit off to the left. And then I'm using this gentle pull on the bottom of my foot to draw the top of the thigh and the knee down towards the floor outside the left side of my body. If it's interesting to you, you could experiment with what happens if you straighten out your right leg from here. And if you like that, keep it going. If it feels more accessible or more relaxing to keep your right knee bent, bring it back to that position. And let's hang out here for a few more breaths. Let's go 3 more breaths or so in half happy baby. If your right leg is straight, bend the knee, put the foot on the floor, release the towel or the strap from around your left foot, put it off to the right. Hug your left knee in towards your chest one more time. And when you're ready, set your left foot down. Take a moment to compare the sides of the body, the 2 hemispheres, by straightening out both of your legs and observing any sensations that you feel. Your body scanning, noticing how the left side of the body is in contact with the ground. Now concentrate on feeling, what is the right side doing? How is the right side back of the body touching the ground? Is there a tone or a texture that you sense? Is that different side to side? Before we do the second side, bring one or both hands around near the heart and just focus 2 breaths, touching into that space again. And when you feel ready, let's do that reclined hip series on the right side. So bending both knees, planting the feet on the floor. The very first shape can be done without the strap. Bringing the knee towards the chest. Grab whatever you can with your hands. Breathe here for 5 full breaths. Adding any movement that feels good to you here on this side. from there, if you have a prop, you can bring it around the bottom of your right foot, or just hold your hands behind your thigh. And the next time you exhale out, extend your knee. Let your leg go straight up into the air. There's no need to push or force your knee to go as straight as possible. Find a place where there might be like a little hint of challenge, but you can still keep your jaw, your neck, your shoulders as soft as they can be right now. And let's visualize, let's imagine that this right hemisphere of the back of our pelvis, the glutes, the right joint of the sacrum, that is, pardon my phone there, everyone, growing some roots down into the earth. I'm just sensing and feeling. Does anything shift through the hip or the leg? And you feel that back of the pelvis connecting into the ground. The next breath that you take, see what happens if you send your breath into the belly, down towards the hip. Can you even imagine that the leg is hollow and the breath is filling as much of the leg as you can, all the way down towards the foot. Adding movement here at the ankle and the foot if you like. And when you're ready, let's take it into the next shape. So we're opening up the right leg to the right for an inner leg stretch. Bringing both ends of the strap into the right hand if you like. Left hand rests on the front of your left hip. Take a slow inhale. As you're exhaling out, starting to bring that leg off to the right. We want to keep the left side of the pelvis still plugging into the ground. Take about 5 slow breaths here as you explore. The left leg can stay bent at the knee, or you can stretch the left leg out along the floor. See which one feels the best for you. If there's any movement that you want to do, just a little gentle movement. And play with the swivel of the foot or the way that the foot can point and flex while you're here. When you feel satisfied, use your next exhale out. As you exhale out, bring the leg back to at a home base, just straight up towards the ceiling. And so the first version of our neck shape is not taking it all the way into the twist, but simply feeling for that outer leg stretch. I invite you to bend the left knee and put the left foot on the floor. Nice slow inhale when you're ready. As you're exhaling out, bringing the leg across midline, maybe 3 or 4 inches. Over to the left, just slightly. Ooh, so different on this side for me. Ooh, you can continue that line of stretch of connection from your outer hip to your foot by swiveling the foot, taking that pinky side edge of the foot up towards the ceiling a little bit more, while the inner arch of your foot is moving down towards the earth. You can kind of switch between those two places. You can also give the leg a little bit of a rock, taking it out to the right, almost as far as you might have gone from the pose just before this one. Back through midline, and just a couple inches across to the left. And just rocking the leg, sweeping it like this, left and right. I like to think of like a grandfather clock's pendulum. Just let it sweep really smoothly. You can continue doing this, or take it into the next version where we will straighten out the left leg, getting ready for our twist. Bring both ends of the strap into the left hand and lay the right arm on the floor. Slow inhale when you're ready. As you exhale out, now we're going a little further. We're taking that leg a little bit farther over and across to the left, rolling out onto the outside of that left hip and thigh. The foot also kind of turns. And just bringing this right leg as far over to the left as feels good. Again, if you don't have a strap, you might do this with this right knee bending. You can give yourself a little bit of support. Left hand can hold onto the thigh and the knee. And you can play with different arm positions for the right arm. Could be a cactus arm. Could extend that arm straight up alongside your ear. We're just thinking of that range of motion. Like if you were making a snow angel, your arm could really lay anywhere along that arc, wherever feels good for you. And just a reminder again, if you're using the strap, to see if anything changes if you create one really nice long line of tension through the left arm, climbing your left hand down the strap or the towel as close to your foot as it can go so that the strap and the arm become an extension of each other. And you just feel this nice continual tug of supportive tension from your foot to your shoulder. Okay, if you found something juicy and you want to keep hanging in there with it for another breath or so, stay. When you feel satisfied, take a nice slow inhale. And then as you're exhaling, slowly unwind your twist back to center. I invite you to bend your left knee, put that foot on the floor. When you're ready, coming into half happy baby on the right side. You can keep the strap around the foot. Use it to gently pull down towards the earth. Right knee bending to the outside of your armpit and your rib cage. Down towards the floor. Left knee can stay bending, or it can straighten out along the floor. Let's be here, half happy baby, for 3 more breaths. When you feel ready, we're resetting. We're going to let go of half happy baby. Gently hug the right knee in towards your chest one more time. And then we'll set the right foot down. And just like we did for the other side, let both of your legs stretch straight out. Scan and feel. Letting your body rest on the ground. Feeling through the two hemispheres of your body. How does the right side rest on the floor? Make contact with the ground. How does the left side make contact with the ground? Is there a texture or a tone that you pick up on? What does it feel like to breathe now? Good work, everyone. From here, just kind of doing a flip, a little flipperoo, in whatever way makes sense to you. Lay on your belly. So we're going to go from laying supine on our back, flipping over to lay prone on the belly. So take your time making that transition. Be a nice time if you want to sit up for a moment, take a sip of your tea or your hot cocoa. I opted for tea today, but I think I'm going to make some hot chocolate after class. Then when you're ready, come lay on your belly. When you come to your belly, can make a little pillow for your forehead out of your hands. If you have your glasses, you definitely don't need them right now. You could take those off. Rest your forehead on the backs of your hands. If that doesn't feel comfortable for any reason, you can lay one side of your face to the earth. We're simply feeling the pull of gravity now in this new direction. What parts of the body are making contact with the ground now? Is there a difference side to side? Begin to notice the movement of your abdomen as you're breathing. You might be a little more aware of it now that we're laying on the belly. You might find that when you're inhaling, the belly expands and it creates some pressure. It presses into the ground that you're laying on. When you exhale, you might be able to notice how your abdomen deflates as you're exhaling and it moves naturally in towards the spine. For the belly to expand and lengthen in the front, something has to shift to allow for that in the back side of the body. So you might notice that there's a little bit of shortening in the spine from the perspective of the back of your spine as you breathe in. Talking about that low back spine. And as you breathe out and the belly deflates, you might notice that there's a bit of lengthening that happens then along the lumbar spine. Really subtle, something that you might be able to pick up on. So you're welcome to continue here just like this. If this is feeling great, continuing to breathe into the belly and the low back. If you'd like to get into the hips a little bit more today, we can add half frog on the belly. So I recommend that you use your hands and arms, get the elbows to gently prop your chest up, almost like we're going to do Sphinx, but it's more like we're just here for a brief moment. I'm going to start with my left leg. Bend the left knee to bring it out from the hip, and let my ankle follow to line up with the knee. So I have the inside of my left leg against the floor. If you're on a hardwood floor, if that move takes you off of your sticky mat, if you're using a yoga mat, maybe you have a towel or a blanket, put something soft underneath your knee, maybe even also under your ankle, so that the joints feel really comfortable here. Any amount of bending the knee is great, so no need to try and get this perfectly lined up with your hip. But in general, with this half frog shape, knee is starting to line up with the hip joint, ankle is starting to line up with the knee joint, almost a right angle with that leg, opening out to the left. I chose my left leg. And then from there, you can bring your chest back down to the earth again, laying one side of the face to the floor or making a pillow for your forehead. And then we're just relaxing into this shape for a few moments here. Give yourself 2 more breaths. You can be breathing deeply, controlling your breathing. You can also just watch your body breathe for you. 2 more rounds of breath. And gently using hands and arms to prop the chest up. Nice and slow. Kind of heel toe, wiggle your leg back, straight out and down. And we'll switch to the other side. We're bending the right knee out to the right. Any amount is great. We can think of it starting to eventually kind of line up with the height of the hip. We can start to kick that shin forward so that your ankle and your knee start to line up with each other. But again, just finding the position that feels like maybe just a little bit of a challenge, but you're not straining. It doesn't feel like it's creating more tension. Definitely want to feel really comfortable in the hip joint and the groin. Once you found half frog on the belly on your right side, come on down with the chest, the forehead. We're laying one side of the face to the ground. And let's rest here for a few moments. From here, watching, witnessing 2 more breaths. Your body breathes for you, or taking 2 deep breaths here. 2 more breaths. Going half frog on the belly on the right side. When you're ready, you can gently straighten that leg back out. There's nothing wrong with, I just did that without lifting my chest up. So you could straighten out just right where you are, or if it feels better, you can prop your chest up to straighten out the leg. And then from there, just give your hips a little bit of a wiggle. Just let them rock side to side. See if you can let your butt get really floppy. Your legs get really loose in the hips. See if that wave can go all the way down to the feet, like there's some movement in the feet as you wiggle out your butt side to side, shaking out your hips. Ooh. And then when you're ready, using hands and arms, very gently press yourself up. You're welcome to do a little wiggle there, maybe a little bit of cat and cow. We're simply going to create our Shavasana. So lay back on the back if that works for you. If you have a bit of wall nearby that you could go back to again, welcome to do legs up the wall, or any other variation of laying on your back that feels really delightful to you. Taking all the time you need to set up your final relaxation pose. As you feel yourself settling into this shape, settling into rest, bringing one or both hands to touch near your heart. And concentrate on the feeling of your hand at your heart. See if you can begin to take on the perspective of your heart. Can your heart become aware of your hand? Can your touch begin to reach in towards the heart, letting the heart know that you are here paying attention to your heart? Maybe there is something that your heart would like to tell you. Maybe there is something that your heart would like you to feel. We will close our practice together today here in Shavasana so that everyone has an opportunity to continue to rest, connected here, listening to the heart. And the way that we'll close our practice is let's make one more sound together today. So we've hummed, and before we did Bhramari, we started at the very top of practice. We were doing a bit of sighing. So we'll finish practice today taking 3 breaths together where the exhalation will use the sound of H-A, of ha. And we're just going to extend that sound out, kind of like when we were humming our exhalation out, we're just going to ha our breath out. Okay? So let's do this first one together. So let the breath that you have right now find its natural conclusion. And then very gently inhale. And you stay focused there right at your heart. Together we'll exhale with ha. Ha. 2 more times. Inhaling to fill up. Exhaling with ha. Ha. Once more, when you're ready, inhale to fill. Ha to empty. Ha. Thank you all so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you have really wonderful rest. Sleep well and take care. I'll see you next time.